Good morning. It's just regular water this morning. I don't have my AirPods in. I'm probably not going to put them in right now. All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is day 22 of the Abundance Book. And I think it's about this point where I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, whenever I've done this every year, it's like, why am I doing this? I have like another 20 something days of this. It's like when I'm fasting, it's like, why am I doing this? Did I not realize that this was a 40-day commitment? It is. So we're working off of the Abundance Book. Good morning. We're working off of the Abundance Book by John Randolph Price. And today's topic came to me as I was literally writing day 22, and I read the statement again, and exhaustion. And I'll explain why, and we'll tie it in. So the statement for today, day 22, is statement 2. I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, to understand, and to know that the divine presence I am is the source and substance of all my good. I'll read it again. I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, to understand, and to know that the divine presence I am is the source and substance of all my good. So I'm going to try to pull it together, and I'm going to tell y'all why this keys into exhaustion. I finally got up this morning at 5:50, which is, I've been trying to get up earlier than that, but I finally got up this morning at 5:50, and I felt energized and well rested, so bonus. And I realized that as I was making my bed this morning, I was like, man, I'm like mentally drained, right? When we are not connected to the constant source and the constant flow of that creation within us, it is easy to become exhausted. It is easy to give up. It is easy to just, because the human in us and our ego's like, I'm done. I don't want to try this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to handle this anymore. And I'm going to talk about the difference between pushing and feeling in the flow. So this statement of, I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, to understand, and to know that the divine presence I am is the source and substance of my good. So I want to say, let's say, because we're focusing on health and wellness this week, let's say the divine source I am is the source and substance of all of my energy, all of my I don't want to say productivity because that's so masculine, but let's just say all of my energy. And I'm like, stuff is flowing through me, so I'm so sorry. This is kind of how the process works when I'm not like directly in tune. So it's that this creative force that flows through us is the source of the energy that we are carrying and using throughout the day. When we are in flow with this energy, it's effortless. It's effortless. The flow doesn't feel like exhaustion. It feels like arousal. It feels sensual. It feels in connection. It feels right. However you're going about your day feels in sync with you. It feels like you are naturally unfolding into what's happening in your day. There is no exhaustion that happens when you are connected to this divine I am, this creative energy. That is part of your wellness. That is part of your mental health. What happens with most of us, and what I was noticing this morning, which is now different as I speak to you all. When I woke up this morning, I immediately started going to work. If you've watched my stories. Work is a little different for me now, right? I literally grabbed my laptop this morning and started drafting emails. Who does that? I started drafting emails at like 6:45. And I've been working, and started sending the emails out like at 8:01 because I figured that was the appropriate time to send them. And I was in this, because I had already gotten up, I had not connected with myself. I literally was laying in bed, and how many of you do this? You lay in bed, you open your eyes, most of the time you grab your phone, right? You grab your phone first. You don't get in connection. You don't take time to either meditate or ground yourself or just get your headspace into that flow, into that divine space to wake up and say, hello, the divine I am. I am here. We jump right into the day. And then by the time 10 o'clock comes, we're already feeling frazzled. Our brain is already fried. We're not flowing in connection with the divine self that we are. And so then we're exhausted on a daily basis. We're exhausted because we're not in the flow. We've forgotten. I lift up my mind and heart to be aware, to understand, and to know that the divine presence I am is the source and substance of all of my energy. How is that? All of my energy is consistently flowing through me. Like, this body needs to rest to rejuvenate itself. But there's a constant flow of energy. Have you all, there are people who seem to operate on little rest, but are always energized. They're in this flow. They are fueled by the divine. Their body is fueled by the divine. I'm not suggesting you don't get any sleep. And that's what I would that's my desire for you all to meditate on today. If you're feeling exhausted and tired, if your wellness is off track, if your body is not responding to weight loss, if your hormones are jumping all over the place, yes, get rest. Yes, monitor what you're eating. Yes, to all of those things. And are you disconnected from the divine flow? Are you grabbing phones first thing in the morning, laptops first thing in the morning? Are you jumping up with just enough time to grab your shower, grab your coffee, and get out the door? Are you taking time in the morning to connect with that flow, that constant, consistent, abundant, infinite flow of energy that will carry you through your day, that no matter what fuckery comes your way, you're just gonna let that shit roll off? Just, because you're good? You're good. You're not walking into work or into wherever you're going all cranky and whatever have you, because you're good. Because you're not depending on these other people and circumstances for your good mood and your good attitude. You don't need your coworkers to be good for you to be good. You don't need your clients and customers to be in a good mood for you to be in a good mood. Your flow comes from something way beyond all of that. The source of your energy, the source of your excitement comes from something else. And so I'll briefly talk about the difference between that and pushing, right? Because some of us are like, nah, I gotta push through. It's that's a very masculine trait and necessary in some instances, right? Necessary. I mean, if you're a sports player, well, no, because if you do martial arts, and I took martial arts for a little while, like a jack of all trades, master of none of them. I didn't get past the white belt, y'all, but I know how to kick some ass. But even in martial arts, even in the flow of positions, even though you may be punching, there's still a flow that comes with that. So even in the pushing of it, there's still an energetic flow that comes with it. So now I was going to think about sports and how, you know, you push through, but some of the best athletes will tell you that they get into this flow, they get into this state. Like, you will see them beforehand where they're, you know, they're getting into this energetic space of where they are, whether it's the music that they're listening to or whatever it is that's going on. They're tapping into something else before they pick up a thing or get on a field. They're tapping into something else. So no, even in that case, I would say no. The exhaustion comes when you're not tapping in and still trying to make yourself go. It's like trying to push a car up a hill. Like you're just forcing it without any extra, without understanding the flow of that divine I am that you are. When you just take a deep breath and hold it and just imagine this being washed with electricity. Just imagine being washed with electricity, and as it comes down your body, exhale. Allow that tingling, that feeling. It's not your imagination. That's the crisp energy of that divine I am, of that creation. When you're feeling in a state of exhaustion and you're feeling like, I don't have nothing else in me, take a deep breath in and imagine yourself just being. Some people imagine light. I like electricity. It just makes me feel like I've been juiced up. Feel into that flow. Allow that to energize you. And now I'm not saying don't drink your coffee, y'all, because, you know, I like my coffee. But don't allow the coffee to be your source, because then what happens if you don't have your coffee? Then you're walking around acting like a fucktard, right? So don't do that. You know, let the coffee enhance the energetic flow. Don't make the coffee the energetic flow. You dig? All right, that's it for today. This was actually good for me. I'm gonna say that right now. I mean, I do these live streams, and I want y'all to know that sometimes, I think every day I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to you all. And I'm really just sharing with you what I'm learning. Because like I said, I woke up today and it was like I was on the go. And as I was making my bed, I'm like, fuck, I gotta get on and do this live, man. I didn't even look at the book this morning. I don't know what's happening. I was like, Aisha, you're already exhausted for the day? That's what we're going to talk about. And here we are. And that's how it rolls. So I just put myself back in that state where now I am back in my flow, because it happens. Don't think that you're constantly, you know, I love Abraham Hicks, Esther, and Jerry. You know, Jerry has moved on, but, you know, I watch their videos on YouTube. I've read their books. Gosh, this is years now, a decade. I've been tapped in, tuned in, turned on to Abraham Hicks. And, you know, they always talk about being in the flow, being downstream, right? But there's also the understanding that, and I said this, I think, in the first 10 statements, there's the understanding that, you know, if you've ever canoed, I've canoed before. It's a very I told you, I've done like a lot of shit, but not enough of it to call myself an expert at it, except for a couple of things. But so if you've ever been canoeing, you get in the boat, right? You know, usually you're like downstream and you're going with the current, you know, you're going with the current, and you have to there's a way that you have to just not paddle against it. Otherwise you find yourself stuck. I'm not talking about white water rafting. That's different. And I'm not doing that shit. But I mean, just like canoeing, like when you're going down the stream. And so Abraham Hicks often talks about that. And how when we're downstream in the flow, like we can feel it. We know what it feels like. But I want you all to know that sometimes you're going to hit some rocks. You're going to like pop out the stream. You know, there are going to be days where it's going to be like you're going to wake up and you're just not going to, you're going to feel like you're trying to swim up. And that's okay. It's part of the human experience. And in a way, those moments are beautiful because they remind you to be aware. When you start flowing, see, most people out here are not aware. And I really got to get off because I gotta go. But most people walking around out here are not aware. So they don't even realize that they're trying to swim upstream. They just think that that's how life is. But once you begin to get in tune and understand that this divine flow, I am, is the source and substance of all of your energy, of all of your sensuality, of all of your prosperity, of all of your abundance, of all of your everything. And if you're a monotheist, then you can say that God is your source of everything. It works for me too. It's all the same to me. When you understand that, then you begin to notice when you are not in connection, and you begin to notice those days when you are trying to go upstream with no life jacket, no paddles, no nothing, just trying to use your brute strength, and you like, ooh, I need a minute. Let me go pop on some binaural beats. Let me get my jazz going. Let me find that hip hop that gets me like back in that space. Because it doesn't matter, right? Some days, you know what gets me hype? It's Cardi B. Some days Cardi B gets me back into my downstream flow. Some days it's Stevie Wonder. It all depends on the mood. Sometimes it's George Benson, Missy Elliott, SWV. It doesn't matter. It's just as long as it gets you back into the flow. And when you're aware and you're like, oh, this is not, I'm all in my human ego right now. I'm not in the flow. Let me take a minute. So those moments are beautiful. Those moments when you pop out of the stream and you're feeling frustrated and pissed off and angry, those are beautiful human moments because they remind you to be aware. They remind you to just like, oh, I done hit a snag. Huh. Let me course correct. So don't think that you know that you're supposed to be reaching some level of divine perfection in which you're never feeling like you want to smack a bitch type thing, right? It's like that's not where we're at. Don't ever feel like you're not going to be cursing folks out in your head. I'm about balance. Don't ever feel like you're going to be, like, I wish I would today. It happens. And then you notice that and you go, let me pull myself back into my downstream. Because jail time just doesn't feel right for me today. Jail time is not a part of this soul's purpose in this lifetime. Right? So I don't want you all to think that this is about walking around like, always so peaceful, with flowers in your hair. But allow those moments to be moments to help you become aware that you have stepped out of the street and to find ways to get back into it. And then sometimes you just gotta smack folks. Sometimes people need to just hear some choice words, and that's just what it is too. Right? That's just what it is too. All right, I'm feeling good now. I'm gonna go make my breakfast drink. I didn't even make that before I got on. Normally I'm shaking up my thing. I didn't even make it before I got on. I'm gonna go make my breakfast. I'm gonna go have some coffee, and I'm gonna go finish starting my day because it already started. But now I'm gonna start it in my flow. Wow. All right, thank you all for joining. I will see you back here tomorrow. Have a fucking abundant day. Bye.